Welcome to Retail Pricing Unlocked, the podcast powered by InsightTrack. With over 15 years of experience supporting retailers, we share expert insights and strategies to help you turn pricing into a competitive advantage. Now, here's today's episode.
If you're running a retail operation today, I imagine you feel this constant pressure to just slash prices. The conventional wisdom often shouts that you must be the cheapest on, well, everything. But surely that just means everyone loses, doesn't it? It's a race straight to the bottom.
It is the single biggest trap in retail pricing. It really is. The data tells us emphatically that winning is not about having the lowest price across your entire catalog.
Right.
It's about being incredibly selective and strategically managing what we call your price image. You need to appear trustworthy and competitive without actually sacrificing your whole margin structure.
And the mechanism you use to achieve that trustworthy price image, that critical foundation, is what we're focused on today. Key value items, or KVIs.
That's it.
You do occasionally hear them called key price items or KPIs, but for clarity, I think we should probably stick with KVIs today, as they are truly about communicating value, not just, performance metrics.
And this exploration will show how selecting just a handful of these high-impact products creates this dominant perception that your entire store offers brilliant value.
And that's what gets people through the door.
That's what gets them in, and it's what drives customer loyalty and, crucially, profitability through a bigger basket size.
That's the real mission then, to show you how to find those hidden levers, the handful of products that truly move the dial, and turn them into a powerful strategic advantage.
Right. Let's unpack this properly and maybe start with how we even define a KVI in today's world, because the approach has moved on significantly from the days of, just checking off milk and bread.
Historically, the KVI list was almost purely built on necessity staples, wasn't it?
Huh?
The items everyone buys, like eggs and, basic toilet rolls. Those staples are certainly still important, but if that's where your KVI strategy ends, you're leaving a massive opportunity on the table.
You are. A massive one. The modern KVI framework, it requires a much more robust, data-driven approach. It's no longer guesswork. You need to triangulate 3 critical data points. First, your internal transaction data.
Okay.
How much you sell of something and how frequently it lands in a customer's basket.
So the volume metric, what's the second point?
The second, and this is perhaps the most important, is shopper price perception data. This comes from external sources, consumer surveys, recall studies, competitor intelligence.
So this tells you which items the customer actually remembers the price of.
Exactly. It's the difference between what sells a lot and what the customer uses as that mental yardstick to judge your whole store.
And the third piece of the puzzle.
That's where experienced merchant judgment comes in. Technology gives you the numbers, but a seasoned buyer knows which items are trending or which products are strategically important in, say, an inflationary climate, regardless of historical data. You need all 3.
And here's where it gets really interesting for anyone trying to optimize their pricing. That core insight that a customer makes a split-second decision on whether a store is cheap or expensive based on just a tiny subset of items. So why then shouldn't we just focus our attention on the items that drive the highest sales volume? Surely if something sells a lot, that's where we should be most competitive.
That is the most common mistake we see, and it's a vital pitfall to flag.
Okay.
Just because an item sells in high volume doesn't automatically mean that reducing its price will enhance your value perception.
Right.
Think about something like basic cleaning fluid. If it's something people buy automatically without comparing the price across 5 different shops, then demand for that product is what economists call inelastic.
Meaning if you lower the price, the customer probably won't buy 2 bottles instead of 1, and they won't switch stores just for that discount.
Precisely. You've just given away your margin for no competitive gain whatsoever. So a modern KVI must be a high-traffic item that customers actively notice and compare. And there's another critical warning here. If you designate too many items as KVIs, say more than 5% of your total product count, you just dilute the whole strategy. Margin erosion becomes unavoidable. Selectivity is power.
Selectivity is power. I like that. And that brings us perfectly to the segmentation, which I think provides the structural aha moment for this. You can't just have one KVI list. You need 3 distinct categories, each balancing a different job.
No.
Traffic, volume, and margin protection.
That's the strategic approach. These three pillars ensure that while you are sacrificing margin in one area to attract customers, you are actively protecting it in others.
Let's break them down then. Category 1,
Yeah.
the price perception drivers. I think of these as the loss leaders, the ones that signal the promise to the customer.
They are your footfall magnets. Absolutely. These are the items customers frequently compare across competitors, either because they're advertised heavily or they're just universally known products.
So the strategy is to be aggressive.
Very aggressive, they're often low margin because their primary function is not profitability, but shaping that shopper's overall view and getting them into the store.
Can you use a concrete example?
Certainly. Think about a specific major branded product, maybe a high-volume branded washing powder or a specific type of soft drink that is carried by all your rivals.
Right, everyone knows the price.
The customer knows what it should cost. So if you are significantly competitive on that one item, they immediately assume you offer better value on all cleaning products or all drinks. You're sacrificing margin on a brand name to buy mind share.
That distinction is crucial. Now, moving to category 2. The volume sellers, or what we're calling transaction anchors.
These represent a huge share of your total sales value, but they aren't necessarily the items customers use to compare you against the shop next door.
So what's their job?
They are essential for retaining your high-value, loyal customers once they've chosen you. The strategy is straightforward. Keep them competitively priced to maintain sales momentum and stop what we call basket leakage.
So we've attracted them with category 1, and now we anchor them with category 2. What kind of product fits here?
We're often talking about private label or own brand mid-range items that your repeat customers rely on. For instance, your standard store brand milk or basic tinned vegetables.
I see.
They may not draw in new traffic, but if they get too expensive, your loyal customer will start splitting their shop between you and a rival, which is exactly what you want to avoid.
And finally, the category that allows the whole strategy to actually work. Category 3, the key profit drivers. The margin protectors.
These are absolutely vital because they pay for the discounting you're doing in category 1. These are items that are typically not price sensitive to the consumer. This might be a niche accessory, a high-end specialty food item under your own premium brand, or maybe a bespoke service contract.
And the consumer doesn't really notice the price here.
Exactly. They aren't comparing your price on that specialist coffee-making accessory against anyone else because they assume you're the expert, or perhaps they have brand loyalty to your premium private label. The strategy is aggressive protection. You must monitor competitor pricing simply to ensure margins are maintained.
And that gives you the financial breathing room.
It does, to discount those perception drivers.
So if we look at the results of using this 3-pillar system, what does this actually translate into commercially? It must lead to demonstrable returns beyond just theory.
It leads to 2 primary measurable benefits. Firstly, defense. By focusing competition only on the KVIs, you neutralize your rivals' pricing advantages without triggering a full-scale, catastrophic price war.
You're choosing the battleground.
You are. And secondly, the concept that generates profitability, trip consolidation. This is where the initial margin sacrifice really pays off.
Right, trip consolidation.
Yes. It's simply the practical outcome of convenience. Customers drawn in by the low KVI prices, those category 1 items, they don't want to go to another store.
Of course not.
They are highly likely to buy all their complementary higher margin products while they are already with you. This behavior significantly raises the average basket value, neatly offsetting the lower margin on the initial KVI.
One trip, and you've captured the entire spend. Profitably.
Mm-hmm.
Now, none of this strategic agility works without technology. I mean, manual management of a few hundred SKUs is used to be feasible, but today, with instant price transparency, mobile comparisons, that fails completely.
It does. You have to be nimble. Modern retailers rely heavily on advanced price intelligence solutions, retail price tracking software, and competitor price engines. These tools are absolutely essential for monitoring what your nearest rivals are charging for your defined KVI list in near real time.
And that data just feeds straight into your pricing engines, allowing for strategic adjustments based on actual market conditions. It transforms pricing from a reactive duty into a proactive lever.
The agility required is, well, it's non-negotiable. The KVI list cannot be static. It needs regular review because customer habits change, especially in volatile economic conditions.
That's a great point.
For example, industry guidance suggests that during severe inflation, certain KVIs might need to have their prices held steady, even if costs are rising, purely to preserve that value perception for a stressed customer. Technology gives you the insight to make those fast, strategic, defensive decisions.
That's the power of the system right there. So if we bring this entire structured walkthrough together for you, the core message is this. Not all products are created equal in the eyes of your customer.
Not at all.
By identifying, tracking, and strategically optimizing that critical handful of products that drive perception, you gain control over your market narrative and your profitability.
It shifts the focus from cost leadership to strategic value leadership. It's about building a robust KVI strategy that manages perception, attracts new customers, and actively protects margins where it matters most.
So we want you to leave this with a clear plan. What does a retailer do this week to move from understanding this framework to actual implementation? We have 3 concrete action steps tied directly to those 3 categories. Action number 1, start identifying your price perception driver candidates. You need a manageable focus area for your competitive effort.
And the process is straightforward. List your top 20 best-selling items, and then cross-reference those with products that are frequently advertised by your direct competitors, or those core staples that customers buy on a quick talk-up shop.
Spot on. Get that initial list of traffic magnets. Action number 2, you need to set up a KVI flag within your internal systems for tracking.
So just speak to your data or IT team this week.
Yes, and ask them to add a simple custom data field, a clear KVI tag or a Y flag next to those initial 20 to 40 products you've identified.
Why is that simple data task so crucial?
Because it instantly allows your pricing and commercial teams to filter all their reports. You get clean, immediate analysis of your most critical SKUs against competitor pricing. It enables faster, data-driven tactical responses rather than wading through thousands of irrelevant data points.
I see. It cuts through the noise. And finally, action number 3. Define those key profit drivers for margin protection. This is the strategic counterbalance to ensure you remain profitable while you're competing hard on the perception items.
So identify 10 to 15 high-margin items. It could be niche accessories or maybe your best-performing own brand items that are vital to your profitability but are demonstrably not price-sensitive. Then aggressively protect those margins.
By focusing on those 3 immediate actions, identifying the drivers, tagging them for tracking, and defining your protectors, you lay a solid, measurable foundation for modern retail pricing.
It provides the blueprint for sustainable growth. Remember, you don't need to race to the bottom. You need to win where it counts.
You've been listening to Retail Pricing Unlocked, brought to you by InsightTrack. For more resources, case studies, and expert support, visit insighttrack.com. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join us again next week.